20 minutes later, Elena stood inside the most expensive store she had ever seen. Everything looked expensive. The bags, the clothes, even the air felt expensive. A woman approached instantly. Her smile brightened. "Welcome." The next 2 hours passed in chaos. Nothing was perfect for Sebastian. Eventually, Elena stepped out wearing a dark emerald dress. Simple, elegant. The room went quiet. Claire smiled slowly. "Oh," Sebastian looked up from his phone and froze. His gaze stayed on her. "That one," he said. Elena sighed. Finally, later that afternoon, Sebastian dropped her at the hospital. "Pick you up at 7, he said. "Okay," and he drove off. Inside the hospital, her mother already looked better. David grinned the moment he saw her. "Whoa," he looked at her outfit. "Okay, you definitely met a rich dude." Elena rolled her eyes. "Relax." Her mother studied her quietly. "You look happy." The words caught Elena off guard. Because, for the first time in a long time, maybe she did. She stayed with them till evening, and at exactly 7, Sebastian picked her up. The next 2 days passed fast. Between etiquette lessons, outfit fittings, and Sebastian disappearing into endless meetings, Elena barely had time to think. She visited her mother every day. Treatment was working. Life didn't feel like it was collapsing anymore. By Friday afternoon, Claire was officially losing her mind. "No moving. I'm breathing. Wrong. How do you breathe wrong?" Claire adjusted Elena's emerald gown for the 100th time. Hair soft, makeup elegant, simple diamond earrings. Elena barely recognized herself. The woman in the mirror looked confident, beautiful, like someone who belonged beside Sebastian Laurent. Terrifying thought. A knock sounded. Claire grinned instantly. "Oh," her tone turned suspiciously dramatic. "He's here." Elena frowned. "Why are you smiling like that?" "You'll see." Very unhelpful answer. The apartment felt strangely quiet when Elena stepped into the living room. Then, she stopped. Sebastian stood near the window. Black tuxedo, perfectly tailored. Dark hair pushed back, hands in his pockets. Looking so unfairly handsome it honestly felt offensive. His gaze lifted, found hers, and for a second, he said absolutely nothing. He just looked. Longer than usual. Unreadable. "You look." He stopped. Claire smirked. "Use your words, sir." Sebastian ignored her. "You look beautiful." Eleanor's stomach betrayed her instantly. "Thanks," she muttered softly. Then she frowned. Claire suddenly disappeared. Sebastian reached into his pocket. Elena blinked. "What's that?" Her brows pulled together. He held out a velvet box. "Sebastian," she gasped. "We are going to the gala engaged?" "Yes, we are." He opened the box, and Elena forgot how to breathe. "The ring is beautiful. Elegant. You wear it tonight. Your mother will go crazy." "I know, right?" He smiled. Then he slowly slid the ring into her finger. Luxury cars lined outside an enormous hotel entrance. People dressed like magazine covers. Sebastian Laurent placed a hand lightly against the small of her back and walked her into the gala, like assuring her everything was going to be all right. People stared, whispered. Phones lifted. "Is that Sebastian Laurent? He brought someone. Oh my God, look at the ring. Fiancé?" Her stomach flipped violently. Then a sharp voice cut through the crowd. "Sebastian." Everything went still. A woman stood near the grand staircase. Elegant black gown, diamond necklace, cold beauty, sharp eyes. The kind that judge people in seconds. His mother. And beside her, a tall older man with Sebastian's exact eyes. His father. Or at least the intimidating version of him. His mother's gaze landed on Elena, paused, slowly dropped to the ring, then back up again. Elena prepared for impact. Sebastian's hand tightened slightly against hers. Protective. He said, "Mother, father, this is Elena, my fiancée." Sebastian's mother didn't speak, didn't blink. Her gaze stayed locked on Elena's hand. "What?" she said slowly. "An engagement ring? When exactly were you planning to mention this?" "You just found out." His father quietly took a sip of champagne. "Congratulations, son," his father said. "She is beautiful." "Thank you, sir." Elena smiled. His mother looked personally betrayed. "You disappeared for months," she said sharply. "Refused every woman I introduced to you, and now suddenly you're engaged." Sebastian's hand stayed warm against Elena's back. "Yes." His mother looked stunned. "Elena," she said carefully, "what exactly do you do?" Elena froze for half a second. "I'm a personal assistant." His mother looked unconvinced immediately. "To who?" "Oh no." Panic. Sebastian answered without missing a beat. "She works privately." Smooth liar. His mother's gaze sharpened. "And how exactly did the two of you meet?" "At a charity fundraiser. She spilled coffee on me. She apologized. I asked her to dinner." His father laughed suddenly. His mother looked offended. "That's your romantic story?" Sebastian glanced at Elena briefly. She was nervous. A glamorous woman approached. Beautiful and elegant. The kind of woman Elena immediately disliked. She smiled brightly at Sebastian, then froze. Because she saw Elena, saw the ring, and her entire expression changed. The smile vanished. Sebastian's mother sighed. "Elena," she said calmly. "This is Victoria." Elena slowly turned toward Victoria. "Hi, Victoria." "Hi, Elena," she replied dryly. This gala had officially become a problem. "You're engaged." She faced Sebastian. Her voice cracked slightly on the last word. Sebastian glanced once at Elena. "Yes." "Since when?" "A week ago," Sebastian answered smoothly. Elena almost looked at him. "Sir, we met 4 days ago." Victoria finally looked at Elena properly, and something sharp flickered across her face. Jealousy. "You're beautiful," she said, but it didn't sound like a compliment. It sounded like surprise. Like Elena wasn't what she expected. "Thank you," Elena replied politely. "Claire would be proud." His mother crossed her arms. "So," her gaze sharpened, "what family are you from?" "Oh no," Sebastian interrupted. "Mother, please enough. We are not here to be interrogated like criminals. Can we all just focus on why we are here?" Elena smiled politely. Sebastian's father choked on his drink. His mother looked deeply unimpressed. Her silence said enough. Victoria stepped closer to Sebastian. She wanted him, obviously. Unfortunately for everyone, Eleanor's pride kicked in. Before she could stop herself, her fingers lightly tightened around Sebastian's arm, like she belonged there. Then softly, his hand moved to her waist, possessive enough to look real. Victoria went still. Elena suddenly forgot this was fake for half a second, because the way Sebastian looked at her, steady, focused, protective, didn't feel practiced, didn't feel fake. "Sebastian," a loud voice interrupted. Several wealthy guests approached immediately. Businessmen, investors, smiles too polished, questions too fast. "Congratulations. When did this happen? You finally settled down. Oh my God, is that the fiancé?" Suddenly, all attention shifted to Elena. Her stomach dropped. "Oh no." Sebastian noticed instantly. His hand tightened slightly at her waist. "Breathe," he said quietly enough for only her to hear. Like he knew exactly what she needed. He leaned closer and murmured, "You're doing fine." That helped way too much. Elena inhaled slowly. Sebastian looked at Elena. "You do know how to dance." "Claire taught me a little." "Good." Sebastian held out his hand. "Come here." Her stomach flipped. "Oh my God. I should warn you," she whispered. "I'm bad at this." "So am I." She blinked. "You." "I hate attention." That unexpectedly made her feel better. The ballroom lights softened as music drifted through the room. Sebastian's hand settled carefully at her waist. Her hand slipped into his. The other rested lightly against his shoulder. "You're nervous," he said quietly. "You're very observant. You ramble when nervous." "Oh my God." His mouth twitched. He pulled her slightly closer as they moved. Slow and carefully. It felt so natural. Elena suddenly stopped noticing everyone else. The cameras. The whispers. Victoria watching from across the room. His terrifying mother. None of it mattered for a second, because Sebastian looked at her like she was the only one in the room. Then quietly, close enough that only she could hear, "Thank you." Her brows pulled together. "For what?" "For staying." She smiled. "Not like I could leave even if I wanted to." His eyes locked onto hers, sharp and unwavering, then smiled back. She felt it. The rest of the gala blurred. By midnight, Elena was exhausted. The night was finally over. Back at the apartment, the city stretched outside the windows, quiet and still. It was just them now. Elena turned awkwardly. "Well," she held up the ring slightly. "Your mother nearly fainted." That was entertaining. "You're evil." "A little." She laughed. Her heel caught slightly against the rug. A small stumble. Before she could fall, Sebastian caught her. His hand stayed on her waist. The air shifted. "You okay?" he asked quietly. "Yes," but neither of them stepped back. Elena swallowed. "Oh my God, he smells so good," Elena thought. Their faces were too close now. The way he looked at her tonight was different. Her heart started doing stupid things again. And for one terrifying second, Elena thought he might kiss her, because his gaze dropped briefly to her lips, like he was thinking about it too. But instead, he stepped back slowly. "You should sleep." "Oh, right." Disappointment hit harder than expected. Annoying. "Good night, Elena." She nodded once. "Good night." But later, lying in bed, she couldn't stop thinking about the almost. Neither could Sebastian. 3 weeks later, wedding preparations had become chaos. Apparently rich weddings required meetings, flowers, designers, guest lists long enough to start a small country. Elena hated all of it. Sebastian hated it more. "This is ridiculous," he muttered during cake tasting. "Do we have to make it this elaborate? After all, it's not real," Elena whispered back. "We have to make it believable. And my mother won't agree to a low-key wedding for her only child." Fair? His mother still hadn't warmed up to Elena, but she had stopped openly insulting her. Progress. And strangely, without noticing, Elena and Sebastian had become comfortable with each other. Movie nights, dinners, inside jokes, arguments over coffee. They started caring more for each other without even realizing. Then one afternoon, Eleanor's phone rang while she sat at the kitchen island surrounded by wedding samples she hated. She glanced at the screen. "David," she answered immediately. "David? What the hell?" Elena blinked. "Hello to you too? You're engaged?" She pulled the phone away slightly. "Oh my God, stop yelling, Mom could hear you." "She knows." "Oh my God, I heard it on some gossip site or business article, and rich people nonsense." "Elena, why is your face next to future Mrs. Laurent?" She groaned immediately. You're marrying a billionaire. It's complicated. You're engaged. Fake engaged, she corrected quickly. A pause. What? Long story. Are you in danger? No. Kidnapped? No. Blackmailed? She sighed. Can you stop watching crime documentaries? No. Because apparently my sister secretly gets engaged and forgets to mention it. I was going to tell you. When? At the wedding? Look, I'm sorry, okay? It's a long story. I'll explain to you later. Please don't tell Mum about the fake situation. Are you okay? David asked. Yes, you don't have to worry about me. Just take care of Mom. During final wedding fitting, Elena stepped out in the dress, and the room went quiet. Completely quiet. Claire looked up and froze, like someone had stolen her ability to speak. Oh, Sebastian's mother even paused. A miracle. Elena suddenly felt nervous. What? You look breathtaking. Thank you, she smiled. 3 days before the wedding, Sebastian and Elena decided to go officially tell her mom and brother. Except this time, her mother wasn't in the hospital anymore. She had been discharged. She was stronger now, smiling more. She was in the living room when they got there, and beside her was David, looked dramatically suspicious. The moment they walked in, he looked at Elena, then Sebastian, then back again. Oh, wow. Elena frowned. What? You both look really good together. They both looked at each other and smiled. But I thought rich people were supposed to be ugly. Sebastian blinked. Elena covered a laugh. David. What? I'm being honest. Sebastian looked amused. Elena's mother smiled softly. You must be Sebastian. Yes, ma'am. Unexpectedly respectful. Thank you, her mother said quietly. For everything. I heard you hired her to be your personal assistant but fell in love instead. Elena looked at David and smiled. Sebastian was lost for a minute but got the drill almost immediately. You don't have to thank me. The heart wants what it wants. Elena looked at him. Her mother's gaze shifted between them slowly. Knowing. Far too knowing. She's been through a lot since their dad passed. So please, do not hurt her. Sebastian looked directly at Elena, then quietly. I won't. Elena couldn't look at her mom. She knew all these will be over in few months. David understood the disappointment on her face, but he just had to play along as well. It's nice having you around. I hope I am strong enough to make it to your wedding. Eleanor's mum said. You need more rest, Mom. Later, after too much teasing from David and emotional mother advice Elena absolutely didn't ask for, they finally left. Elena glanced over. They like you. I survived interrogation. Barely. Wedding day. Going smooth. Hair, makeup, flowers, people everywhere. Claire monitoring things. You look beautiful, Claire whispered dramatically. I'm emotionally unstable. You've said that 6 times. Because this feels real. Claire paused. Maybe part of it is. Oh, please. The ceremony was private. Elegant. Too beautiful. Glamorous. Elena barely remembered walking down the aisle. She could only see Sebastian. Waiting. Black suit. Hands clasped. Looking strangely nervous. And when he saw her, he froze, like he forgot everyone else existed. The music softened. Eleanor's heart raced. She reached him. Sebastian leaned closer, close enough that only she could hear. You look breathtaking. Her breath caught. The vows blurred. The guests disappeared. Then, the officiant smiled. I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride. Oh no. Immediate panic. Nobody had prepared them for this part. Sebastian looked just as affected as she felt. Then quietly, almost asking, Elena? Like it was her choice. Always her choice. Her heart raced. Then she nodded very slightly. Sebastian held her gaze for half a second. Then, his hand lifted carefully to her lower back. Gentle and slowly, he kissed her. Soft, careful. Everything stopped. The room disappeared. Because for one terrifying second, it felt so real. The applause pulled them back. Elena stepped away too quickly, heart racing. Sebastian looked equally affected. Something had definitely shifted. Something deeper. The reception blurred into chaos. Champagne. Photos. Too many congratulations. David, Elena's mom, Sebastian's parents, Claire, and people she hadn't met before. Sebastian never left her side. Always close. His hand brushing hers. The occasional quiet. You okay? You need food. Are you tired? Like caring had become automatic. They had their first dance. Everyone was happy. And the reception finally ended. The car stopped outside the apartment. Home. Inside was quiet. Wedding gifts already delivered. Claire had clearly gone overboard decorating. Candles. Rose petals. Champagne. Elena stopped walking. Oh my God. Sebastian looked mildly horrified. Claire, she watches too many films. Elena turned dramatically. Sebastian laughed. And Elena hated how much she liked hearing it. I'll go take a shower. It's been a long day, Elena said. Yeah, I'll do that too. A little later, Elena stepped out wearing comfortable pajamas. Hair loose, makeup gone. Sebastian stood in the kitchen, looking unfairly attractive for absolutely no reason. He glanced up. You clean up nicely. Thanks. Weird. They were weird now. Like something had shifted after the wedding kiss. Too aware of each other. Sebastian slid a mug toward her. Tea. She took the mug slowly. Thank you. He nodded once. So, what now? Elena asked. He paused. We'll figure things out. Her fingers curled tighter around the warm mug. Before things went out of hand, she said good night and ran off to bed. Weeks passed after the wedding. Living together became very complicated and sweet at the same time. Because resisting each other became harder. The way he loosened his tie when stressed. He drank coffee like it personally offended him. Worked too much. Slept too little. Always noticed everything about her. You forgot breakfast. You're cold. They stopped acting like strangers. They went on dates. Saw movies together. Attended functions together. Visited her mom and brother together. Had dinner with his parents. Sebastian showed up every single time. Never complained. Never made it a big deal. One rainy night, the power briefly went out, and Elena accidentally walked into the living room half asleep, only to find Sebastian sitting there, watching the rain. You okay? He asked quietly. You hate thunderstorms? No, I just couldn't sleep, making room beside him. She sat very close to him, the apartment quiet around them. You should sleep more, she muttered. Okay, wifey. She smiled. He looked at her, and suddenly realized how close he was. His gaze dropped briefly. Her heart started acting weird. Sebastian said, Elena, like a warning, or maybe something deeper. Neither of them wanted to pretend anymore. Not after weeks of emotional torture. Elena, he said again, I want you. The words slipped out before he could stop them. Oh no. Immediate panic. Like the world had stopped. Then slowly, his hand lifted, brushed lightly against her cheek. Her heart stopped. He leaned closer, slow enough to stop, slow enough for her to move away. She didn't, neither did he. The air crackled with unspoken words. A silent symphony playing between them. As their eyes met, His hand gently cupped her cheek, his thumb tracing the curve of her jawline, sending shivers down her spine. Her breath hitched as he leaned in, his gaze locked on hers, a silent question in his eyes. Then their lips met. It wasn't a rushed, passionate collision, but a slow, tender exploration. The kiss spoke of longing, of shared dreams, and the promise of a future intertwined. Her fingers found their way to his hair, a gentle tug that deepened the intimacy of the moment. It felt nothing like the wedding kiss, like finally breathing after holding it in too long, like coming home. The kiss spoke of longing, of shared dreams, and the promise of a future intertwined. Hands that had gently touched moments before now explored with a growing boldness, tracing the lines of bodies, discovering hidden curves, and igniting a fire that had been smoldering beneath the surface. Sebastian lifted her up and headed straight to his bedroom. Unbroken kiss. Soft murmurs and whispered words filled the air. The tension built, a sweet ache that pulsed with anticipation, drawing them into a shared rhythm. Elena, Seb, they finally pulled apart. Then the quiet realization that somewhere between fake vows and ordinary evenings had fallen into something real.